Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special and a slightly late vlog review about the new Great Gatsby movie. So this is going to be a supremely fun vlog today because, as you can see, I'm utilizing my sexy, sultry, super supremely through the basement low woman voice. And it's not, in fact, by choice. I pretty much have allergies from the pit of Satan's house in Hades, so I literally cannot speak any louder or any higher than this. I think that's the highest note I've hit all day. I mean, or else I will probably squeak like a pubescent young child, but specifically a male, because luckily us girls don't have to deal with that in your face. Anyway, so I apologize for my voice and any potential coughing fits and shenanigans that my body will cause to ensue. I hope that it will not be too much of a distraction. And in terms of other business, I know that you're all so fascinated by my Dr. Pepper collection up there. Yes, it's there to torture you. Absolutely, it is there to cause heinous amounts of cravings in your soul. And yes, I will potentially restore this stock once I finish it, if you ask really nicely, because you guys are pretty intrigued by my Dr. Peppers, and I can't blame you, they're quite delicious. So anyways, let's get cracking with this review. Also, Hannibal, I am going to watch the new episode today, in case, you know, depending on when you're watching this, I will, yeah, I'll be watching that today and reviewing it today with my craggly man voice. It's a sexy, sultry woman voice, okay? I'm gonna pretend I'm like sexy librarian, okay? Okay, is this gonna work for you? Yes, maybe. At any rate, let's bounce. Let's get going with this review. And just as a quick warning, spoiler alert, because in this review I'm going to kind of be, you know, discussing everything. So for those of you who haven't seen it, I would say go for it. I'm just gonna say that up front. I'm gonna say don't read what the critics are saying. Don't fixate on what all the big names and hot shots are writing and blogging about it. Just go for it yourself, you know. Make your own opinion and just look at it as a unique work of art. You know, everybody's gonna take away something different, and you do you. I say watch it because it's gonna make you think and emote, and you will enjoy it. It's a fun ride. So at any rate, there has been a lot of controversy out there lately about this film, and I'm going to address that and shed some light on those things. But the funny thing is, I mean, I've heard, you know, from IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and stuff that the movie has not been rating well. And it didn't have a crazy, fantastic opening either. I went to see the movie on Thursday night, and it was literally, everyone in the theater was my age. Like, we were all college students and probably lit majors. Actually, like, the entire back row behind me, I knew everyone from my lit classes at school, so, you know, there was a certain, there's an audience of interest that was there, and yeah, but I've heard that there's a lot of negative things being said, a lot of criticism, and, you know, shit-slinging, stuff like that. But I have not personally taken the time to read any of that because I don't find it to be very productive. You know, everybody's got something to say, and usually it's like one extreme or the other. Sort of like if you're like looking up a certain phone or a camera, you know, something you're like researching on Amazon, and the people that post are either absolutely in love with this product or they absolutely hate it, because if you feel neutral about it, you're not even gonna think about posting a review, you know? So I haven't read any of the negative reviews simply because it's like, you know, I try my best to view movies objectively and just, you know, think about the things that I like and why other people might not like them. And, you know, it's just kind of a good way to live life because it makes it so much easier to understand where people are coming from. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at that, just that that's what I usually try and do. So For me, this movie was a very interesting ride. You know, it was directed by the same guy who did Moulin Rouge, so I knew to expect that it was going to be probably crazy and eccentric and colorful, and you know how like with Moulin Rouge, the whole musical, all of the different songs were contemporary songs placed in a totally, you know, different setting than that which the songs were originally wrote and produced in, and they kind of rearranged things and made it fun. And so this interpretation of The Great Gatsby was very interesting in that, you know, the soundtrack was really pushed with this movie because it was so cool and so modern. It was like Jay-Z and Lana Del Rey and Florence and the Machine and Beyonce and, you know, the whole freaking gang. And I think the music was used fantastically, like, you know, as they're taking the big sweeping panoramic shots of New York City, and, you know, it's the jazz age and money is circulating like crazy. I mean, it is a spend, spend, spend consumer society, and, you know, playing those Jay-Z songs, singing about that money, money, you know, and it really, really fit. I think it was so creative and clever, and the songs were used so beautifully and hauntingly, and, you know, and especially Jack White's version of Love is Blindness, love that, love the new Florence and the Machine song, and everything was just used so nicely. Even like, you know, it's so funny how the songs at the Gatsby parties, you know, it's kind of like, they're sort of modern-esque, but, you know, everyone was still dancing, you know, in a style that I would imagine is relatively fitting to, you know, the 20s, whichever era this, the story is set in. So, yeah, so I think I think it was really cool and well executed. It was a really winning move, I think. They did real good with that. What was at first difficult for me to engage with in the movie was the pacing of the first half. You know, because we've got, we have the main narrator, Nick, you know, and he's telling in retrospect the story about his crazy time in New York and, you know, why he's like an alcoholic and an insomniac and why things are screwed up. I mean, so he's going back and recounting the story, and, you know, kind of there's some, he's sort of narrating everything, and there's some voiceovers, and the scenes are just cutting back and forth super fast. It's really whimsical, like it feels like a dream. Like the camera is just like spinning on this top, you know, in these great, fabulous rooms, and everyone's just, it's so dramatic and so over the top and just ridiculous. Like, it's just ridiculous. You can't help but laugh at it, you know. It just feels so strange. You're like, what is everyone on? And yet, as the film progresses, the mood starts to really sober up. The cinematography changes, the scenes are longer, they're less choppy, you know, it's less of this kind of fantasy feel that we get in the very beginning, so colorful and brash and dramatic, and everything is just so in your face, so intense, moving at the speed of light. And then things really kind of sober down, and there's a totally different feel in the second half of the film, which I think is symbolic about the story that is being portrayed itself, you know, because it's like the first half is about like this drunkenness and just the revelries, and everyone's just doing their thing and just eating up life, you know, like everyone is just going ham and doing whatever they please simply because they can, you know. It's just all for pleasure, it's all vanity, and things are racing at the speed of sound. And then as the movie dies down, it's kind of the death of that idealism, that kind of drunkenness. And then we come into a place of sobriety, of reality, of seeing those dreams, you know, like the dreams of Jay Gatsby, seeing them being effectively dismantled. Like the first half of the movie seems to symbolize his triumphant hopes and his glorious ideals and this pedestal that he has placed Daisy on in this entire life that he has achieved all for her. And then we see how his dreams are never going to come to full fruition, you know. Everything is going to fall apart, and we really start to sense that more as the scenes become longer, as the camera angles are less like it's less like you're rip roaring around on this freaking racetrack of insanity. It's less of the party feel and more of like, this is, you know, this is life. This is what things are, you know, everyone is returned to their places and the dust is settling and you can see things more clearly. And so that's kind of how I reconciled the first half with the second half, and just kind of that change of pace, for which I was very glad, because I need to take a drink of water. Ah, praise the Lord. Anyways, so what was I gonna say? I had a fantastic point, but yeah, no, it's just all about idealism in the first half, and then everything, the glamour fades, you know. And oh yes, I was going to say that I was really nervous that the entire movie was just going to be flipping back and forth, like especially, you know, sort of like the party scenes, you know, with Nick and Tom Buchanan and everybody, and they're just like dancing around, and the guy's going crazy on his saxophone outside down the street, and you know, everything is just spinning, they're all intoxicated and on every kind of thing under the planet and making out and just dancing around, you know, God. Just put on the lampshade and just get down with your bad self. I mean, everything is just going crazy, and I was like, is the entire movie gonna be like this? Because I'm not gonna be able to take this even remotely seriously, which I was trying to. But I mean, there were some very funny scenes. Like, I was laughing so hard at that scene where Gatsby is trying to get Nick to invite Daisy over, and he like freaking fills up his neighbor's house full of flowers and stuff, and it's like covering the entire house. It's like his house pretty much is effectively turned into a greenhouse. It's like, better hope nobody has allergies like myself. Yeah, and how he's like freaking the crap out. I actually wrote a really well, I think it's funny, Jay Gatsby's top 10 tips for how to get the girl. I wrote it on my Tumblr, so I'll put a link in the description in case you guys want to look at that, because I basically break down, you know, Gatsby's thought process in trying to get Daisy. And it's kind of, if he was to write a how-to guide, you know, I don't think anybody would be able to get past the first step as far as trying to get to their lady love. So at any rate, yeah, so there's a lot that was very funny in this movie, and I'm just like, oh my god, like really? It was great. And they stuck really closely with the original story from the book too. I actually read it for like the first time in middle school. I didn't know what the crap was going on. Why would they have us read that in middle school? Like, I had no idea about, you know, the historical context or anything. It didn't faze me, so yeah, but I have read the story before, and they really had a great eye for detail, you know, like some lines were taken word for word, and just the way that everything was imagined on the screen was beautiful. But yeah, I'm just so glad that, you know, as things really began to get more serious, as we're getting past the parties into the meat of the issue and Gatsby's dream, you know, we start to see just how unattainable it is. You know, his life is a reaching after that glowing green light at Daisy's dock across the water, you know. It's and I think that was so well done, and it made the entire film so much more meaningful for me. And so yeah, so I can see how some people might have been frustrated with some things. For me, it was the pacing of the beginning, and just worried that they were going to turn, you know, the entire movie into this weird kind of slapstick comedy of sorts, as we watch, you know, Gatsby kind of fumble with this crazy dream, and we're all just kind of like, haha, like what's up with this guy? But it takes on a serious tone, and it's so good. I think that the movie was incredibly well cast. I love just how dramatically the characters were all portrayed. Everyone rocked it. It was marvelous. I felt, you know, it was it was so great. Leonardo DiCaprio, do I smell an Oscar? Because You know, I'm thinking this guy, it is about freaking time that he stands up on that stage and takes something for his crazy flawless performances, especially in this film. It is off the charts. And not to mention that he dropped, like, I swear he dropped like 20 years in, you know, the way that he looks in this film. Like, holy crap, you know, taking me back to the Titanic days up in here. He looks so young, and I don't know if he lost weight or if it's, you know, like getting rid of that facial hair. He's got such a baby face, you know, but he has an incredible smile too, you know, like Leonardo's always wrangled into these crazy, depressing, psychotic roles, and you know, it's not to say that he's not slightly psycho in this movie and that, you know, things still turn out arguably rather poorly for him. But, yeah, we get to see this side of jubilation and innocence to him, and he portrays Gatsby's incredible blindness and struggle and the ecstasy of this dream, and how he's constantly like, Daisy, Daisy, it's okay, we're gonna be together, and how everything is for her. He brought everything full circle. You know, there was no scene in which he skimped out. He was dishing it up mean up in here. I was thoroughly impressed. I thought he was positively ridiculously good looking. The classiness was, it was to die for. Well done, DiCaprio. I'm pulling for you with the Academy. Those little room of staunch old men, they really need to open their eyes and see what the crap is out there for once. And you know, I was surprised Tobey Maguire did not kill me. I was thoroughly okay with the fact that he was not Spider-Man, and in fact, I think that the character that he plays in this movie, I think is perfect for Tobey as an actor, because Nick is he's so diffident and timid and just kind of on the periphery of everything and doesn't know what's going on or what to do. He's just kind of a bystander in all of these events, and yet ends up becoming very implicated in this whole hot mess. But I think I think that he did a really good job. I was not rubbed the wrong way by him. Like, I think, you know, the awkwardness was pretty much perfect for this film, so I think they situated him in a good place, and it did not murder me or offend my sensibilities that he was in this movie. So, well done, Tobey. I tip my hat to you. Carey Mulligan was the perfect Daisy. She completely embodied everything that Daisy is in the books. Just that it's almost like, as weird as it sounds, like this hysterical innocence. Like when we first find her, you know, Nick is going to visit her and comes into the room, and it's just all the glowing white veils and just this bright light, and everything is just like completely veiled and covered, and just, you know, everything's just twisting and wafting about, and you feel like you're entering, like, you know, the chambers of heaven. And then she's there sprawled out on the couch and just, you know, just sort of turns her head, and wow, I mean, it was just so, you know, that complete and utter elegance and yet emptiness is just tragic. I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was super good. I laughed a lot. I cried a little. It was, you know, this is the kind of movie that even though you know what's going to happen at the end, you still feel like it could turn out differently at the last minute, you know. Gatsby's going for a dip in the pool, and then he comes out, here's the telephone ring, all is good, and then boom, it's over, done, case closed. And it's such a beautiful, tragic story. I thought it was done so very well. And I hope that you guys get and bearing with me with my lowness of voice up in here. It was a great movie. I really have no complaints. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, that was awesome. So I would say it was good. I liked it a lot, and I don't care what nobody says, because I liked it. It was good, and I was eating ice cream through the movie, which made me happy. And that is just about it. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Hannibal review coming up, more Bates Motel and Dexter and all that good stuff is coming super soon, so you guys are fabulous. I'm gonna let you go. I'm amazed that my voice has lasted this long. Praise Jesus. I'm gonna go take a nap. You guys are beautiful, and I'll be back with some more reviews for you in the future. So thank you very much, and subscribe if you enjoy listening to me talk, even though I won't always have my sexy, sultry woman voice. Maybe I'll work on that, just for you guys. Take care, y'all.